Spectrum is Waterloo Region's first ever LGBTQ rainbow community space. This small but mighty haven is currently located in the historic Boehmer Box building in Kitchener. This poignant episode explores the rainbow community's long struggle to establish safe gathering spaces within Waterloo Region and includes a walking tour hosted by Spectrum's president, Cait Glasson.
My name is Cait Glasson. My title is President of the Board of Spectrum. Spectrum began as an idea in 1971 with Jim Parrott, our founder, and he had the idea, among other things, that he wanted to see in our society. He wanted to be able to hold hands with his partner in public. He wanted to be able to kiss in the park, just like straight couples did, and he wanted a community center. And it took a long time, and it was after he retired and everything, but finally in 2012 we founded this place. And it's meant to serve as a community center, literally a center for the community, a physical space for the community, because most of our spaces have been gone. They've just disappeared, they've melted away over the years. So we're left being basically the center of the community because, well, basically by default. As to what happened to them, that's a matter of much discussion in the community. There's a lot of people who are really distressed about the fact that there aren't things to do in the evening here if you're gay. I mean, you can go to the same places everybody else does, but it's still not comfortable, say, for two men to go to a dance club and dance together, right? Some places you can, some places you can't, but you don't necessarily know which are which when you're going in the door. So that's, there's no comfortable place. That's the real problem.
Club Renaissance was in here, and this was all different. The Ren was like Cheers, with a dance floor. It would have been just about exactly where that sign is. It was here, and then there was like a little canopy over the door. It was a nice place. It was a nice place. I enjoyed it. They had a little dance floor, a little stand-up bar. Just a good place to be, and it was safe, and that was key. I mean, you may notice I don't have a whole lot of teeth left. That's because of violence in this town. I got beat up a few times after I came out. So safe places mean a lot to us. Oh, it is still there. Hey! This is roughly where it was. But one of these was the back alley entrance to a club sometimes called the Pink Zone, the Half Circle, the Full Circle, various other names. It kept changing names. And it was a speakeasy, right? It had a door with a window in it. So literally when you came up, you knocked on the door and the bouncer would open the door, and if he recognized you, you got in, and if he didn't, you didn't. It was a bar with a dance floor and a stripper pole, and you didn't get in unless somebody vouched for you, right? Because it just wasn't safe. But there's nothing much left of it now. First gay bar I ever went to. Yeah, I had a friend who went with me, who had been there before, so we could get in. And it was a good place too. It wasn't quite like the Ren. It wasn't as homey as the Ren. It was more of a bar. Lots of flashing lights and loud music, and lots of people in incredible, fabulous clothes. So the Walper Terrace Hotel, or rather the Walper Terrace, was a place known to gay men in the 60s and 70s as they had a room, the gentleman's room, where women weren't allowed. strangely enough, this became a gathering place for gay men, which I don't know that the Walper ever actually knew that they were actually hosting more or less a gay men's club, but it's where people used to go to meet and hook up and do all the things that you do in a community space, right here in the heart of Straight Kitchener. So downstairs in the Walper Terrace, there was, like I said, the gentleman's room. So places come, they go. In terms of their relevance to people, they don't always retain the same meaning. So, but it was a place that people felt safe, and you know, that's the recurring theme throughout this is about safety, right? It's what we've always been seeking, because it's the thing we were denied. So finding places that we could be safe made a difference, you know. Here we are in Victoria Park, which, when all these other places weren't available, before those places were available, and even after to some extent, this is where gay men would gather to find other gay men, which, you know, is viewed by the public as being extremely distasteful. But you have to remember that we're talking about a community that until 1969 it was literally illegal to be gay. So you could go to jail. And when the police would arrest men in the park, they would publish their names in the newspapers the next day, so that they would, you know, their marriages would fall apart and all of those kinds of things. They'd lose their jobs, they'd lose custody of their kids, everything. And that's the mild form of what happened to people, because a lot of people also got beat up. We weren't given any places to be, and then we were arrested for trying to make places for ourselves. I would not be the least bit surprised to find that even in these days of Grindr, that the park is still used in these ways, that cruising spots are still used like this. Because public cruising, for whatever reason, is part of gay culture, particularly gay male culture. And there are a lot of people for whom that's the way they prefer to meet their partners.
So we wanted to provide literally a physical center to the community. So we hold programs here. We have peer support groups. We have an older adults group that's really popular. We have a parents and kids group that meets on the third Saturday of the month, and just all kinds of different groups where we get the community to come together in this place. A really good organization with a lot of good-hearted people. So I really enjoy being part of it. At the moment, with the various things that have closed over the years, the bars and the cafes and the other things that were around, all that is left now is Spectrum and Glow, the Glow Center. Glow Group has been around since 1971. They're the longest running LGBT group on a campus in Canada. So we're really proud of them, and they're great partners of ours. But other than them, there's really nowhere in town for us to meet anymore. For me, as an older trans person, I transitioned a long time ago, almost 30 years ago. And for me as a trans person, I think seeing the trans peer support groups be so active, seeing people get support in a way that I never did, is really fulfilling for me. It really feels like that's a legacy for me to leave behind, to say that younger people now who go through that process won't have to go through some of the things I did. And that's my goal. That's personally for me, that's the big goal.